Okay, so I'm going to show you how to edit the product photos for the website. And I've got open the standard template here, Photoshop, which I believe I sent you. And I'm going to go to File, select Place Embed. I'm going to start with one of the HS Taylors and just double click on it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically try and make it take up as much of the available space here while still leaving just a little bit of room kind of on the edge. So we make good use of the space, center it up, hit enter. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to right click on the layer here, and I'm going to hit rasterize layer. It allows me to edit it a little bit better. And the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my magic wand tool. What the magic wand tool does is it'll select whatever color you click on and then find all of the other pixels on the picture that match that and select them. So I'm going to up the tolerance a little bit. The tolerance means how the lower the tolerance, the more detailed it is in selecting. So it's just going to match exact. The higher the tolerance, the more kind of flexibility it has. And the reason I'm raising it is I want these lines here along the edge of the shoe to just be a little cleaner. The only problem is that when I've done that, you can see that some of the selected area includes the white area of the sole. And I don't want to delete that. So what I'm going to do is go over to my eraser tool first. And I'm going to zoom in a bit. And I go over here to the left side of the shoe, kind of right by the sole. And I'm just going to start deleting some of the background that connects with the sole. And basically what I'm doing is I'm cutting off kind of the connection between that white colored background that I'm trying to get rid of and the bottom of the shoe. And so now I'm just going to kind of isolate all of this. So now they're not connected anymore. So if I go back and use my magic wand tool, you can see it selects all of the white background, but it doesn't get in here and mess up our sole. So I'm going to hit delete. And so that gets rid of the background. Now I'm going to zoom in a little bit, and I'm going to use the magic wand tool again. I'm going to go ahead and set that tolerance down pretty low. So that'll allow me to get rid of a little bit more of this white space, again, without messing up the that sole part of the shoe here. And so, some of these are going to go a little faster. Some of them, that background tool will get rid of like 90% of everything for you right away. In this case, because the colors were similar, we got to be a little bit more involved. So what I'm going to do now is I've got the eraser tool back open, and I'm just going to kind of go along the bottom of the shoe. This is where you just got to kind of be as accurate as you can. You're going to be using the undo feature a lot because, and what I like to do is do your erasing in short little bursts. That way, if you need to undo something, you're just undoing a small amount. Otherwise, what happens is like you'll erase a whole big chunk of what you're working on, and then at the very end, maybe make a mistake and you want to undo it, and it's going to undo that entire chunk of stuff that you erased. So I like to just do it in kind of like small little clicks. One thing that might help too is I do have other backgrounds on here. I've got like a white background, I've got a pink background, and a black background. It helps you kind of get a better idea of what it's actually going to look like and kind of isolates your edges a little bit. So this is just, you can see over here, this is just a little messy. So I'm just kind of going back and seeing if I can smooth these lines out just a little bit. We're zoomed in pretty tight, so a lot of the stuff won't be too visible once we zoom back out, but nothing wrong with trying to be precise with this stuff if you can. And so I'm going to go ahead and just keep working on this as quickly as I can. So this doesn't get old. You may end up deciding to skip ahead in the video a little bit. One thing that might work here too, since this gray, if I boost up our tolerance just a little bit, you might be able to get rid of a lot of these little nooks here And that's obviously faster than using the eraser tool for all of that. Yeah, and then we can go back and just kind of smooth these out. Gotta be careful when you're getting here because these colors are getting real similar. And that's where it was kind of jumping up and started erasing parts of the sole of the shoe too, which we don't want. So you can always select and just not hit delete. And then if you click again, you'll be deselecting. Okay, so now I think I can go through and finish cleaning up all these lines. So again, short little clicks here with the eraser, so you're not kind of setting yourself up to accidentally redo too much if you make a little mistake. You can also see with my eraser set at about 95 or 96. I'm getting a pretty hard edge here as far as my erasing, but it's still softer than these like real hard pixels right here. And generally that's going to look better because I'm going to make this smaller so I can get in here, these little spots. Generally that's better because the hard pixels will stick out more, but these soft edges will just kind of help the photo just blend and look a little bit more natural. Okay. Yeah, and this shoe in particular with this bottom sole is just a little bit more demanding. But once we're done with this, it won't be too bad. Oops, there's a mistake, so just hit undo, get rid of it. And that's where the benefit of doing small little bursts here. If I had been doing like one big long one and then messed up at the end, I would have to go back and do it all over again. We're very close to being done with this part. Okay, and then you can just kind of go along the rest of these edges and do a little bit of cleaning up here or there. Now again, just kind of softens up some of these pixelated edges here. Grabbed a little too much of that edge there, so there we go. Okay, and these are all pretty good up here because there's some texture going on there. There's a couple of little bit harder edges that we can smooth out. Like I said, I mean, I like to try and make these as clean as possible, but also I'll show you, like when you zoom out, a lot of those hard edges just kind of disappear anyways. So that's really kind of what you want to be basing everything off of, because people aren't going to be zooming in on these images and they're already very large anyway. So they'll likely be presented even smaller on the website. But, you know, there's nothing wrong with kind of making sure everything's done really well also. Okay, so zoom back out. Looks good on black. Looks good on pink. Looks good on white. We got rid of the little drop shadow. I think that's the direction we're deciding to go. So I checked it on all my backgrounds. Looks good. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the background so we're transparent. You don't really need to add anything to these photos. I think they look good as is. As far as as far as like color correction or anything. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit Save As. And so I'm going to go back to Images, Products, and I'm going to create a new folder in here called Edited. And I'm going to change my Save As type to a PNG. So a PNG file is a file that allows us to utilize the transparency. JPEGs don't have transparency built into them, so that would automatically turn that background white, which for our purposes on the website most of the time is fine. However, if we ever want to use these product images over a dark background like the black or the pink that we looked at, having a transparent image allows us to do that. A white background locks us into a white background. So we're going to choose the PNG file. I'm just going to name it HS Taylor Blue 1. And you know, the naming structure isn't crucial. So most importantly, just figure out something that makes it self-explanatory if you're looking through a list of photo files. In this case, HS Taylor Blue 1. The other one I'll call HS Taylor Blue 2, and then so on and so forth. And then I'm just going to hit Save. Compression, small is slow, interlace none. This just basically doesn't compress or over-compress our image. And we are done. And then you would just repeat this process for any other product image. Hopefully this is helpful.